Hello you guys, good morning. This is Teacher Chris and this is Fundamentals of English Midterm Reviewer. And this video will help you to be more successful with the results of your test. So please stay tuned and watch until the end. So for today's review, we are going to talk about telling time, about articles, about the demonstratives, this, that, those, and these, about possessive apostrophe S and S apostrophe and adjectives. Alright, so let's start with telling time. So knowing how to tell time is a very important skill that everybody should know. So it can also help you determine whether you're running late or whether you have plenty of time to spare. So it can help you catch a train, bus, or plane on time and allows you to know if you're going to make it to an appointment or to an important get-together early or you're late. So being able to tell time by looking at the traditional clock is essential to understanding other things like time zones and international times as well. So learning how to tell time can also help you, my kids, with their motor and cognitive skills as well as mathematical skills. So here, what I have here is a circle that is divided into two parts. As you can see, we have the yellow part and the green part. And on the yellow part, we have the word past. So everybody say it again, past. Okay, very good. Now on the green part, we have the word to. All right, so later on, I'm going to tell you how we are going to use these two words. All right, so here in my clock, you have these lines and it's divided into 12 lines. So here, imagine that this is number 1, this is number 2, 3, and so on and so forth. And this is 12. So each number has a corresponding value of 5 minutes. Okay? 5 minutes each, comprising the 60 minutes for 1 hour. Now, we have two hands in our traditional clock. We have the hour hand and also we have the minute hand. Okay, so this is where these lines helps us to determine time. So for example, let's say that our hand is pointing to this part. So it means that in order for us to know what time is it, if nothing is written there, all you need to do is to count it from 1, 2, 3 up to here. So this is 10. Okay, so now since this is a traditional clock, there's no way of telling if it is AM or PM. So let's say it's AM. All right, so the hour clock is pointing right here and the minute clock is pointing right here. All right, so if the minute clock is pointing, the minute hand is pointing right here at the yellow part, you are going to tell time by using past. Okay, so the time is 10 past 10 a.m. All right, so that's where we use this. Okay, so if the minute hand is pointing here, the time is, and it's still 10 a.m., the time is 25 past 10 in the morning or a.m. So that's how you use it. Well, if the time or if the minute hand is pointing here, that's when you are going to change from past to to. So you are going to say it's 20 to 11 in the morning. Okay? So here, you can also see the quarter past and quarter to and half past. All right, now with half past, it's 30 minutes. So half past, half the clock has passed already. So it's half past 10 in the morning. Now, if you have quarter to, if the minute hand is pointing here, you'll say it's quarter to 11 in the morning. So later on and down below, I will put a link on for you to practice to tell time more in our quizzes. All right, so let's do the next one. All right, so we use at plus time when giving time of a specific event. All right, for example, the class starts at 9 o'clock. Again, the class starts at 9 o'clock. All right? Then the flight leaves at 10 to 3, 10 minutes before 3. We have two kinds of clock system. We all know that with our previous videos during summer. So we have 12-hour clock system, which we have the AM or the PM. And AM means what? Anti-meridian. Okay, again, anti-meridian. PM means post-meridian. All right, now for our 20-hour clock system, if the time is 12:30, we read it as 12, then insert 100 and 30 hours. Again, we read this time 12:30 with this 1230 hours. So take note that there is no S after the letter D. It's not 1200s. Okay, so it's always 1230 hours. Then we add S in hours. Okay. All right, so how do we then convert a 12-hour to 24-hour clock system? So we have a few examples right over here. So in 24-hour system, when the time is 11:30, since 11 is lower than 12, then it's AM. All right, so when the time is like 1330 hours and 13 is higher than 12, then it's an indication it's already PM. Okay, so in 24-hour system, each hour is denoted by numbers to avoid confusion. So for myself, I think the 24-hour clock system is better than 12-hour clock system, so that you don't need to mention every now and then the AM or the PM. All right. So if you see this, there's a corresponding number for each hour, for each 24-hour of the day. All right. Now, we have here a few examples. Let's convert 12-hour to 24-hour clock system. So we have 4 p.m. right over here. So how do we convert the 12-hour clock system to 24-hour clock system? So all we need to do is to add 12. 4 plus 12 is 16. All right. So the time is 1600 hours. Okay, so 1600 hours is also 4 p.m. in 12-hour clock system. All right, now if we have this time 8:15 p.m., now we add 12 to 8, and that is 20, and the 15 minute remains the same. So the time is 2015 hours. So that easy. All right, now let's try it reverse. So how do we then convert 24-hour to 12-hour clock system? This time we have the 24-hour right over here. Now, since from 12 to 24 we add 12, this time we're going to reverse the process. So instead of addition, we will use subtraction. So now we have 1900 hours. So we have 19 minus 12 is 7. So the time is 7 p.m. Why? Because 19 is higher than 12, so therefore it's p.m. So it's 7 o'clock in the evening. So we can say it like this as well. Now, we have here 1436 hours. So let's try. So 14 minus 12 is 2. So since 36 is way past 30, remember what we talked about earlier? So we shift from using past to 2 instead. All right, so we deduct 60 minus 36 and it's 24 minutes. Then we add 1 to the actual hour. So the time is like this, 2:36 p.m. If you want to write it simple like this, or if we say it, it's like this. It's 24 minutes from here to 3 in the afternoon. All right. So now, after talking about telling time, let's now move on to the articles. So some few reminders. Articles in English are tiny words that can cause big problems for learners like you. So to make it easier to learn the proper way to use articles, let's take note of the following. All right, so use a or an for general nouns. Again, for general nouns. So A for words that begin with a consonant, and an for words that begin with a vowel, or this is a general rule. So we use a and an with singular nouns. Okay? Now, here, we use the with specific nouns. So we use it with either singular or plural nouns. Alright? So I have here a few examples. So this is a table. So we use a, not an, because T is a consonant. So next we have here, this is an apple. We use an because apple starts with letter A, which is a vowel. Alright, now, the movie that we saw last night was so boring. The movie that we saw last night was so boring. So we use the over here because we're talking about the specific movie that they saw last night. Alright, so now, an article is a word used to modify a noun, which is a person, place, object, or an idea. So technically, article is an adjective, which is any word that modifies a noun. Usually, adjectives modify nouns through description, but articles are used instead to point out or to refer to nouns. Okay? Now, here, words that begin with A, U, or H take an if the noun begins with a vowel sound. Like for example, umbrella and air. So even though that these are here, even though that this is an H and it's a consonant, but the sound is a vowel, so it takes an, not a anymore. So an umbrella, still umbrella, okay? Still an. And a, if the noun begins with a consonant sound, like for you, university, a university. So since this is, although this is you, but the sound is Y, so it takes a, not an. Alright, so a house, okay, still it takes a. Alright, now let's move on. So this time we're going to talk about the demonstratives, and these, that, and those. So as an adjective, we can also use these, or these, that, and those with nouns. So we use these and these for people or things that are near us. Okay, so we have lived in this house for 20 years. So we have lived in this house for 20 years. So we are talking about this house. Okay, so that's why we use this. Okay, so have you read all these books? Okay, so the speaker is talking about the books that are closer or close to him or her. So we use these, but the noun following it is in plural form, so we use these. Okay, so we use this for singular noun and these for plural noun for the things that are closer to you, the speaker, as the speaker. All right, now we use that and those for people or things that aren't near us. Okay, we use that for singular and those for plural noun. All right, so that who lives in the house. Again, who lives in the house. So we use that. So let's imagine the reason why the speaker used that, because the house is quite far from the speaker and he's actually pointing at it. And who are those people? Who are those people? People is a what? A plural noun. Okay. All right, moving on. Now, whose and possessive apostrophe S and S apostrophe. So we use possessive apostrophe S and whose to talk about possessions or relationships. All right, so whose phone is this? Whose phone is this? It's my sister's, apostrophe S. So here, the phone belongs to my sister. It means that it's my sister's, meaning to say that the owner of the phone is his sister. All right, whose keys are these? Whose keys are these? Remember, we use whose to ask who's the owner. All right, so the answer is they're my dad's. They're my dad's. So instead of saying that those keys are the owner of those keys is my dad. Instead of saying that, you could only simply say that they're my dad's apostrophe s. Right? Now, here. Next we have use singular noun plus apostrophe s. Alright? So it's my sister's phone. The reason why it's apostrophe s because it's a singular noun, and then we only add apostrophe s. Okay, plus the noun phone. Alright, so we use also regular plural nouns plus s apostrophe. So that's my grandparents' house over there. So if we have, or if you are talking about plural noun, okay, so plural noun generally has an s already, so we put the apostrophe after the s for plural nouns. Alright, so grandparent plus s apostrophe followed by house. Alright, so we use apostrophe s also for irregular plural nouns such as children, people, women, and men. Alright, so these nouns are irregular. Alright, children from the singular form child, people from the singular form person, women from the singular form woman, and men from man. Alright, so here the example, the children's books were all over the floor. So we use apostrophe s right over here. Alright. Now, notice the difference between possessive apostrophe s and the short form of is also apostrophe s. So in this example, is that Jacob's bag? Is that Jacob's bag? So here, we're asking about possession. So here, it's apostrophe s. Alright, now here, Jacob's 14 years old. The apostrophe s here is the short form of is. So this two is not similar. Actually, they mean different. Although you see apostrophe s, it doesn't mean that both of them are talking about possession. Okay, so I just wanted you to be aware of that. Okay, so next. Now, we use possessive pronoun in the place of a possessive adjective, my, your, plus noun. So it's her book, okay? It's her book, it's hers. So from her book, it becomes it's hers because we talk about possession over here. So we use possessive pronouns. So that's my phone. From my phone, it becomes it's mine here. Okay, so mine is a possessive pronoun. So right here, I have a list of possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns. So here, my is an adjective, but if we want to use a possessive pronouns, we should use mine. So for your, it becomes yours. For his or her, still the same, his or hers. Our, just add s, ours, and their to theirs. So, the next topic is about adjective. Okay, so we all know that adjective has three degree. Okay, so we have the positive, absolute, and also we have the comparative, and we also have the superlative. Now let's move on. So here, how do we now form the comparative and superlative of adjective from its absolute form? So we add er or est. So that's the basic rule about adjectives. So here are the examples. Right now, we also add r or st if the word already ends with e. If the base or the absolute adjective already ends in e. Alright, so when the absolute degree also ends in y, we change y to I and add er for the comparative and st for the superlative. Alright, still good? And when the absolute degree ends in consonant with a vowel before it, we double the consonant and add er and est to form the comparative and superlative. Now here, look at this. Big. Big ends with a letter G, which is a consonant, but before that we have I as a vowel. Now, the general rule is to double the consonant letter. Well, in this case, big is letter G, so we double G for bigger and biggest. Okay. Now, let's move on. So, number 5, by adding more and most before the absolute form for these adjectives. Okay, so active, you say more active for comparative, and most active for superlative. And then do the rest right over here. So that's it. I hope you learned something new again. Actually, it's not something new. It's something that we already learned in the previous meetings that we had. So I hope you will learn them and you have more and deeper understanding about them. And please, our test will be on the 25th. That will be tomorrow. So please study, 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 and you could rewatch all the videos that we have in our channel, the Cool Chris channel. And also, if you need more explanations about it, about our test, so please don't be shy to message me in our Google Classroom and also in our line support group. Just ask me like, Teacher Chris, I need help. So I will be online, or we could do it via Zoom to help you more about it. All right. So good luck. Okay. And also, please be careful out there. All right. So this has been Teacher Chris, and this has been Fundamentals of English course code E21101. Guys, good luck. All right. Bye.